Welcome to SVG Sports Content Management Tech Portal Series. I am here with two good friends of SVG from a longtime supporter of SVG, IMT. We got Greg Holick, VP of Product. How you doing, Greg? And Roy Burns, VP of Media Solutions. Gentlemen, first of all, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
So, guys, I think most people that are watching this, most people that are associated with SVG know who IMT is. But just for some background, give us an idea. Tell us a little bit about the company.
Yeah, absolutely. IMT is a systems integrator. We're actually in our 13th year. We have over 800 customers spread mostly across media, entertainment, and sports verticals. We like to bridge that gap between traditional IT and that M&E piece that tends to be missing out there. So we take a consultative approach working with customers to understand their solution. And, that extends very much into that sports vertical. And more recently, these past 2 years, we've actually started to move into the software business.
Right. So let's talk about that a little bit more because, again, I think that I personally and a lot of people in the market know you guys as an integrator first and foremost. But the software business is something that you guys are getting into, and you've come up with a pretty cool new platform. Tell us about it.
All right. So we are super excited to be launching a new software product called Soda. It's the first data mover of its kind, and it predicts the cost and speed to transfer your data to and from the cloud. This will save you, obviously, time and money as you're running your business. Soda puts you in control of your budget, providing valuable insight needed to make smart storage decisions, especially across your storage ecosystem. It's designed to work with all types of storage. That could be on-prem, that could be hybrid, and that could be cloud. And users can define rich policies and set up filters to transfer the data they want when they want. It also has the ability for users to tag projects and their workflows. And so you can do bill back and charging to departments. So you have insight into what things cost when you're working with the cloud. And we also have a flexible API that we built in that we've integrated with a lot of our MAM vendor partners, allowing those MAMs to use us for the data movement and give insight into cost and cost for pushing and pulling data from the cloud, as well as cost models for your on-prem data storage.
Very cool. Okay, so you just mentioned it right there, but look, MAM integration, whenever it comes to any kind of data moving product, is going to be key. You got to be tightly integrated with whatever the MAM is. So maybe expound a little bit on how you guys integrate with some of those big name MAMs in the business.
Yeah. So out of the gate, we partnered with 4 MAM partners, and Greg mentioned we have an API, so we're definitely open, looking to build more integrations. And that thought is that data movers and MAM are already a well-made match. It's just historically, it's been a compliance checkbox at best. Right. It's not a sexy thing to just move data from one tier to another, but Greg had mentioned providing that cost estimation, and that's some white glove treatment that's been historically missing, as well as time estimation. If I'm an editor producer and I'm working with some low-res proxy, but I know that I need to restore that source media to do my conform, I really need to know if when I go to lunch and I come back, this media is going to be here, or is it not going to be here for another day? So, with Soda's insight plugging into that, we're providing that better white glove experience for that data movement of a MAM user. And then taking that rules-based data movement a step further, we can supercharge that with all the metadata in that system. Right. So like some other data movers might say, you haven't touched this media in a year, so maybe you should move it to a cheaper tier. I mean, that's a great idea. We agree. It's just that doesn't always translate well. You might move it and then need it again the very next day, which has cost and time implications. So by leveraging the metadata inside a MAM system, you could do more complex rules-based movements based off of, this season, are these home and away games, or this content for highlights and sizzle reels.
Right. Okay, so that's for MAM users. What about if you don't have a MAM? What about if you don't necessarily have those tools at your disposal? Is this still something of interest to you? Do you need a data mover tool like this?
Absolutely. I mean, in this market, you've got, we designed it for unstructured data. So many customers have storage ecosystems with many islands of storage and many different types of storage. And what SODA enables those users to do independent of a MAM is they can move data between those storage tiers and know that they're putting the right data on the right storage tier. And that could be from flash to disk to object to cloud. But knowing the cost of your storage tiers as well as the cost to get your data to and from the cloud is useful whether or not you have a MAM.
Right. Okay, cool. Gotta ask, but look, the data mover market is plenty crowded already. There's no question about that. So why does this make sense for IMT to enter a new product into this market? And what do you see as the advantages for somebody moving to SODA in lieu of another tool?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. The data mover market it's crowded, it's costly, and it's complex. What's unique about us is being a system integrator, we constantly used a lot of products to try to solve this unique problem. And what we realized is that there was a gap in the market, and that's why we created SODA. We wanted something incredibly simple that could deploy in minutes and give you insight into your storage costs. We also wanted to create something that did not cost based on the amount of data that you move. And the reason we wanted to do that is we wanted a simple license with a subscription model with service included, and that takes the guesswork out of your total cost of solution. The cloud's already hard enough to understand your cost. Having a tax man on top of that isn't something we wanted to do. We wanted it to be a flat and fair subscription model.
Okay, cool. I know it's a new product for you guys, but have you guys had any big customer wins that you can talk about? Any users that are actually deploying this in the field yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Greg had mentioned, being a systems integrator had us uniquely positioned to understand that marketplace. So we actually captured a lot of end user feedback to help inform the prioritization of what features people wanted to see, and we took that feedback and fed it into some early customer adoption tools. So it is out in the wild with a couple deploys, and actually with a major NFL sports team here, they had a challenge of basically a 60-year legacy archive spread across islands of storage. Some of it even needed to be digitized, and so there's a couple steps required there. But digitizing all of that is not really feasible to put it all in a single tier of storage.
Right.
They were already moderately familiar with the idea of maybe sending something to Deep Glacier by putting it on a snowball, if you will. If you guys are familiar with that, just a big dumb device, throw your data on it, and meet me in the cloud.
Right.
We said, okay, great, your data is archived and protected, but do you have a means to get it back? Do you have a means to search for it? And it became readily apparent that not only this customer, but other customers who've leveraged these tools, they don't always take that into consideration, that it's not enough to just put it there. You need that trail of breadcrumbs to get it back easily. You need it searchable, index, and pull it back. So that was a challenge where we plugged in SODA to first and foremost help migrate that data for them off of the different islands, and then track it by integrating with their MAM. So we help them build a metadata schema to help build rules-based data movement of what should go on what tier of storage. Mm-hmm. And then that benefit is, now they can easily search that content, scrub against a low res proxy of it, and then selectively pull back content. And the end user, to be clear, they don't have to learn our tool. They don't have to learn another data mover tool. These end users of a MAM are used to, knowing their MAM and knowing Premier. They don't have to learn another tool. They find the data they need, and then that data move is transparent to them. But we are going to do that white glove treatment of showing them the cost and time estimations. So that's worked out really well for them.
Very cool. Because, there's so many sports organizations, especially individual teams, that just have this wilderness of media and data, and they just don't know what to do with it. And a simple a simple MAM or a simple throwing it into a cloud somewhere, then you start dealing with egress fees and unsearchability and all that. So a tool like this, I would think for a sports user, could turn that content into viable, monetizable assets, right?
Yeah, and that's a great way of looking at it. Everyone wants to look at the legacy archive for potential monetization, but you need to be able to find it.
Right.
You need that needle in a haystack to find the amazing highlights from the past.
And then you need to know how much it's going to cost to pull it back.
If it's worth it. Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
And
right.
when can I start working on it, right? So all those problems and challenges SOTA was designed to solve.
Yeah, I mean, we ran into a situation just now where suddenly there was no live content, and everybody needed to get into their archive, and they needed to do it right away. So I'm sure tools like this are going to be more interesting than ever to our market. So guys, if somebody wants to check out SOTA, wants to explore, how do they go about doing that?
So you guys are already in our tech portal watching our video. Check out all our other collateral. That includes data sheets, solution briefs, case studies. You can actually find out about who Roy was talking about. We'll have that as a teaser. And on top of that, if you're really interested, we'll have a link right there to try a demo. And you can get set up and you can actually see SOTA in action.
Very cool. And if you want to learn a little bit more about this, IMT is participating in the sessions that maybe you're watching right now or you're about to watch. Roy is going to be on the MAM session, and I believe, Greg, you're on the storage and archiving session.
That's
exactly.
Correct.
So definitely
Yep,
check that out. Cool, guys. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. Really, really appreciate it. And if anybody has any more questions, please reach out to these guys. Their emails are listed here. Check out the rest of the content in the tech portal. And really appreciate your time. Stay safe, stay healthy, guys.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having us.